Today we're going to be going over some fragrances people will immediately smell as soon as you step foot in a room. So these have really strong projection. They push out a great distance. A lot of these with that will be accompanied with good longevity too, but the projection is the main thing that we're looking for here. It's really giving it that power to just disperse, and sometimes that's pretty desirable for people. So this first one is Yop Homme Absolute, one that you might not necessarily think of immediately when you're kind of browsing through your collection of scents in your mind. This might not pop up all that often, but I think it's really good. I think it's one of the better releases within this lineup. It's got incense, black pepper, and ylang ylang, but it's really smoky, spicy, peppery, obviously, with a little bit of a kind of a fresh, bright undertone too. It's really, really nice. It almost has like a cinnamon nutmeg smell, although that's not really listed off. It just kind of has a little bit of a sweetness kind of alluding to that, but definitely smoky, very peppery, a little bit aromatic as well. Something that is kind of going against the grain compared to today's standards. So it's not like bubblegummy sweet. It's not a blue scent. It's not an iris scent. It's nothing like what's being pumped out over and over again these days. It's kind of doing its own little thing here. Now, granted, this is nothing new either, but I just thought it was kind of a cool mention. It's something to change things up a little bit. Price-wise, it's pretty reasonable. On discounters, I think you're looking at around $45 or so. Not really too bad. It's going to be on the more affordable end of, designer pricing, which honestly, I think the quality is indicative of a high quality scent. Like, it smells more expensive than what it goes for. Like I said, that performance, that projection especially, is really strong. For what it's worth, it's pretty unique. There isn't anything else out there that smells exactly like this. Pretty solid release and a nice start to this list. Kind of sticking with a similar affordable trend, this one coming in at around the same price, I believe. It's Mercedes-Benz Le Parfum. So, Mercedes-Benz, a car designer brand essentially, and then there's Bentley and there's Ferrari and there's a lot of other, automobile manufacturer fragrance brands, right? And sometimes you might look at it as a bit of a gimmick, but some of these brands, they really pump out some good stuff. Bentley, Ferrari, they've put out some amazing fragrances over the years. Mercedes-Benz, they've been kind of in the top of the game too as far as, car brand scents go. And now this one here is probably one of the lesser talked about ones. You hear a lot about Club Black, which is also one of my favorites, but this one, it's got oud, violet leaves, pink pepper. Going to be more of a sweeter style scent like we just covered previously. The oud is nothing that's going to be overpowering. It's a designer level oud. The violet leaves is kind of giving it a fresh base and a little bit of an ozonic kind of, just lighter feel. And then that immediately mixing with the oud and some of the other woodier, sweeter notes gives it a really unique kind of balance and composition. You don't always see oud and violet leaf going hand in hand like that, but it works really well. The pink pepper is giving you an additional spice off the top. It's really a big head turner and a big attention grabber, especially when you first spray this one on. And the reason why it's in this video is because it also has really good projection. It really pushes out. Of course, all of these are going to project the most when you first apply them, or within the first couple of hours or so, and will start to taper off, which is just going to happen with pretty much everything, right? But this one, it really holds its own. It really pushes out heavily, which is great. It's what a lot of people are looking for. There also aren't necessarily too many scents out there in that price range that perform like that, so I think that's an added bonus as well. Stepping it up a little bit here, we have Carolina Herrera 212 VIP Black. So kind of gotten a little bit of chatter at one point. It's nowhere near as popular as a lot of other releases, of course, but definitely is known about. It's got lavender, vanilla, and we've got some anise in there as well as absinthe. So a couple more interesting notes, but really just kind of, breaking it down when you smell this one and you start digging into it. It's not all that fancy. Those notes might sound a little bit odd, a little bit intimidating. What's going on there? Nothing crazy. Still very designer level here. sweet, a little bit aromatic. That's about it. That's how I would describe it, a sweet aromatic scent. And, you know, they don't really push the boundaries too much here, even though it might look like it on paper. But the vanilla, it's a really nice, smooth and silky, creamy vanilla note. Works great with the aromatic notes going on in here, like the lavender and things like that, to just give you a nice, common smelling, but yet still unique enough designer scent that's going to turn heads and smell great. You're also going to get a lot of versatility out of this one. You know, cooler weather, slightly warmer weather shouldn't be too much of an issue, but dead of summer heat, this might not be the one that you would want to be reaching for, but definitely fall, winter, spring, early spring. I mean, this is a great option that just has great projection too. Let's keep it moving with Burberry Hero Eau de Parfum. I really like this one. You know, the original Burberry Hero was one that I just didn't really care for as much. I really do think that they have made some vast improvements with the Eau de Parfum and with the newest Parfum as well. I think they've done a phenomenal job of really just making them better, to be very blunt about it. But the Eau de Parfum is one that I've liked ever since it was released. You know, going into it, my expectations were not as high, given the fact that I just didn't like the original all that much. But I was pleasantly surprised. This one turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So, coupled with that, great projection as well. It's got pine needles, benzoin, cedar wood, and incense. So it's going to be more of a woody, smoky, spicy scent, a little bit more of a masculine style. There's a bit of a sweet undertone, but again, it doesn't push it into the category of like an Invictus or 1 Million flanker style of sweetness or anything like that. There's a lot of woods, a lot of incense, the pine needles, right? Things like that give it more of an older school, more masculine, traditional smell, which is a welcomed change of pace for a lot of us out there, myself included. I mean, when you smell this one, when you wear it, it separates itself from the rest, and it feels different. You can tell a difference when you're wearing something that's just a completely different style than what you might be used to. I love it. It's great. And to be fair, the Parfum, the newest one, could have been in here as well because they both have really good projection. Even longevity across both of them there is really acceptable too. So really, I mean, Burberry Hero Eau de Parfum and the Parfum, there are a couple great releases from a designer brand which is not nearly as well respected as a lot of the other top ones. Dior, YSL, Chanel, Gucci, etc. You don't really hear too much praise about Burberry all the time, but these are good. Next up, we have Bulgari Man Terra Essence, another one that is just not talked about all that much. The Bulgari Man lineup is well known, especially Man in Black kind of at the forefront there. It's by far the most popular. But then you've got, a few others like Wood Essence, Neroli Essence, which I'm a big fan of both of those, and then quite a few more. They have quite a bit going on in this line at this point. But Terra Essence, it never really caught on in the same way that some of the others did. It's got citron, vetiver, and earthy notes in here. When you start digging into this one and you've smelled, quite a few things, you start drawing some conclusions. And one thing that has been brought up is Gucci Guilty Absolute, which is also a very polarizing and very divisive scent. This does smell like it a little bit. Now, it's nowhere near as extreme as Gucci Guilty Absolute. I mean, that stuff, it's not for the faint of heart. They weren't holding back at all. It's leathery, and it's woody, and dry, and earthy. That's it, right? So this does have some of that going on, most notably the earthiness that they're listing off that you definitely smell. Now, there is some citron in here, so a little bit of a brighter citrus smell, which you do pick up on somewhat, but that's non-existent in the Gucci. So you can tell just by smell and also even just looking at the notes that they've made this one a little bit more approachable, but also still bear in mind and use caution, it is an earthy, woody, dry, and leathery smelling scent. Even though I don't think they list off leather in here, it's definitely implied. Maybe that's just the crossover of it kind of smells like Guilty Absolute, which uses a ton of leather, so maybe I'm picking up on it artificially, but I don't know. I really do think there is a kind of an earthy leather in here. There are definitely a lot of similarities. This one just is a little bit more down to earth and more designer level, but still, it's not going to be something that is going to be a huge mass-pleasing scent like a lot of other releases out there. But the main reason why this is in here is not because of compliment factor or anything like that. It's projection. This is a strong performer. It's going to walk into the room even before you do. So if you want something that's loud and makes itself known, this is a good one to go for. And it's a bit daring. So if you're up for more of a challenge, then this is a good one to go for. It's pretty reasonable. $65 or so, somewhere around in there on discounters. Really not too awfully bad. Now we're definitely stepping up the price with this next one, but from this brand you just don't really expect anything less. From Tom Ford, it's Costa Azzurra Parfum. I love Costa Azzurra. You guys know where that started out, right? It started out over in the Private Blend lineup. It's a fantastic, super unique marine scent with a very classy and upscale smell. Beautiful, and you guys know I love my marine scents, and so when I discovered that one, I was just thrilled. I was like, wow, this is great. It's expensive though, you know, the Private Blend, all of them are, right? Now they've started to put out some of the Private Blends over into these bottles, which is kind of like their signature line, I believe is what they're labeling them. So now you're getting 100 milliliters as kind of the standard size, like this, although I do think they do make 50s, but regardless, it's getting more affordable over here. Still expensive. It's got lemon, cypress, oak, and not listed off, but still prominent to me, a driftwood note, which is kind of like a musky, woody note, essentially. But that was used in Costa Azzurra. I think the original Costa Azzurra within the signature line, they list off a driftwood note, but it's not being listed here in the Parfum, at least from what I saw. But you're still getting that. You're just getting a woody, aromatic, marine, kind of salty scent with a lot of sophistication, where most marine scents are kind of fun and playful and aquatic and more casual. This is pretty much the opposite across the board there. A little bit more formal, definitely more mature smelling, which I love and is something you don't see every day. It's got amazing performance coming in at a Parfum, but it also just has really good projection as well. This one really will fill up a room. Let's move over to 1 Million Royal by Paco Rabanne. So kind of going over into the new age of scents, being very, very sweet. It's got cardamom, lavender, and benzoin, and of course, you know, the other typical suspects, a bunch of tonka bean and stuff like that, right? But you guys kind of get the general idea of what these are all about. Just a sweet, new style, kind of bubblegummy, warm, spicy scent, essentially, in a nutshell. And there are so many of these, the 1 millions. They're all over the place, elixirs and parfums and everything. At this point, if you're just wanting good performance, projection, longevity, and complement factor, you could basically put all of the 1 millions in front of you, close your eyes, and then just pick one. Now you've achieved what it is you're trying to achieve. If you want uniqueness and something really exciting and different, then you shouldn't pick any of those. Don't even play that game, right? But if you're knowing kind of what you're after, at the end of the day, you're really not going to go wrong with any of them. Even if you're not 100% in love with the scent, chances are it's still going to be beast mode flying off your skin, and people are still going to absolutely adore how it smells on you. So, you know, just kind of know what you're after, and then it gets easier from there. And so, yeah, nothing overly unique and exciting about this one, but good performer, not an outrageously expensive scent, and great compliment puller as well. Kind of going back up in price with this next one here, we're going to be looking at a niche scent. There's so many out there that could be put into a video like this because, I mean, so many niche fragrances are beast mode. Definitely not all of them, you know. There's a lot of them where you're still paying double or triple, quadruple of what you're paying for designers, and then you're still not getting good performance. But if you kind of know where to look, you can get into some just outrageously strong niche products, right? And this one here is that, okay? It's Bond Number 9, New Harlem. And I'll tell you, this is just, it truly is one of a kind. It's unlike anything I've ever tried before as far as being a realistic and unique gourmand scent. This is just, it's all of that. It's insane. It's got coffee, tonka bean, patchouli. It literally smells like syrupy pancakes with coffee next to it. It's just so sweet, right? Very sweet, gourmand. But then above all of that, the performance is just crazy, off the charts. And, you know, it's kind of one of those deals where, given how extreme it is. If you're just over applying this one, you might not even necessarily be bothering everybody around you, which you could be, but gosh, if you over apply this one on yourself, it might start to bug the crap out of you. Like, it's that strong. You won't be able to get away from it. I would hope at some point you would just get nose blindness, no olfactory fatigue, and then just kind of tune it out. But man, if you over apply this one, you might torture yourself in the best way possible. It smells great, but it is strong, brutal, but it has great projection, great longevity to go along with it. But man, it'll fill up a room, no problem. YSL M7, they've changed the bottle, they've changed the name. It used to be M7 Oud Absolu, it would say on the bottle. It used to be the regular M7 back in the day, the rectangle bottles. Now these clear ones, it's just back to saying M7, but you guys understand what it is at this point. It's got mandarin orange, there's a bit of oud in here, no surprise. Some patchouli and some myrrh. It's sweet, it's orangey, and it's woody with a nice oud twist, which still, it's a designer, it's a YSL. The oud is not too challenging by any means. It is there, and definitely love it, and it's not as watered down or dumbed down as some other more affordable oud scents, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more mid-range. But make no mistake, this is still a super wearable scent that people are going to just really enjoy and think that it smells unique. Got great projection too. Pricing on this, I think typically if you're in the right place at the right time, like $80, $90 for, I gotta double check on this before I get it wrong. It's like a 80 ml bottle. So $80, 80 ml, maybe $90, somewhere around in there. It really isn't too bad. Last up for this video, I believe this one's pretty affordable, under $50 for sure. It's Kenzo Jungle, really cool bottle. Like the shape of it, which I don't know if you can see that, but kind of has a little crown going on, and then a little brush at the top. Kind of weird, but still unique. It's got lime, cinnamon, nutmeg, and pepper. It's a very warm, spicy, aromatic, older school style scent. Not a barbershop really, or an aromatic fougere. It's sweeter than that, but gonna be more similar to that era and that style, so definitely nothing that's brand new and young smelling here. But, for the price, it is a really good projector and just something different and unique. Kenzo Jungle, you might forget about this one. It might not be in the spotlight all the time, but it is a really good, affordable scent that fills up a room. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some fantastic projecting scents that are just gonna not leave you hanging. They're not gonna let you down, and they're gonna enter whatever room it is you're heading into before you even step foot. They just really push out. I'll link all these down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.